Please hurry up. They see this shot somewhere in the middle of the street. He jumped out the ambulance and he started shooting him. He was ran back several times shooting him.
Police and EMS arrived to the scene, rushed one man to the hospital, and found another man expired in the streets. When detectives arrived, they learned there's two victims. One is at the hospital and the other deceased. The expired victim is identified as 32-year-old Charles Myers. He's the father of two kids, born and raised in New Orleans. He was hit 10 times with the UWAP. They noticed a black Avalanche pulled over, hit multiple times with the UWAP. 40 casings all around where the victim was. Half a block from the scene, they find a second set of casings, 9s. Inside the vehicle, they find some type of receiver. Maybe they mistook it for the video equipment. So then they find items used to tie the victims up. It was like a belt and a rope from a robe. Then a witness come forward and said a large man jumped out of the back seat and hit Charles with the UWAP. And a second guy hit the vehicle with the UWAP as the surviving victim was getting away. So now that explains the 9 casings being a half block away. Then they get word from the surviving victim at the hospital.
He said that he pulled up at his house and the guys jumped over.
2 victims were both in this car, and one of the perps was driving the car. They started fighting while in there, and that's why they pulled over here.
His head was just grazed. So now it's a second crime scene. So some of the detectives head to that scene while Johnson heads to the station to interview the surviving victim. They get a search warrant and check the house. They notice cameras on the outside of the house. When they enter the house, it's been ransacked. They left video equipment behind, so they called a digital forensic unit to retrieve the video equipment.
We got video in the house where 60 occurred. It looks like they may have tried to take the video equipment before the shooting took place. So hopefully we get something good from that.
Back at the station, Johnson starts interviewing the surviving witness. He's already out of the hospital. He said he went to his girl's house. When he returned and pulled in his backyard, he see 2 people jump the fence. They saying, "Get on the ground, get on the ground." They asked him where the key's at. He shows them which key and said, "Just don't take me out." Johnson asked him, "Do we know those guys?" He said, "Nobody knows who he is." Then he said his cousin pulled up. He knew he was coming over but couldn't warn him. So they got Charles when he pulled up. Once in the house, they were tied up in the bathroom with a pajama strap and a cargo belt. Then they searched the house and took some things. After that, they put the phone to his ear, and the guy on the other end accused him of knocking off his cousin. He told the 3 guys to bring him and Charles to him. He said he was lost because he never done anything like that in his life. So they put them in a car. His cousin was in the back with the 2 guys. He was in the front seat with the driver.
My cousin pulled me into the truck. They was a shootout. So I was ready to grab it. That's me.
He says the driver shot at him and jumped out of the car.
He gets in the driver's seat and take off. Then they hit the back door of the vehicle with the UWAP. He turns around to check on his cousin, and Charles was gone. But he did see the driver's face, and he's a little dude with dreads. So the detective asked him if there's a reason he was targeted. He says he's trying to figure that out. So they end that interview and start watching the video. They took a stereo receiver instead of the video monitor. You see the surviving victim pull up into his driveway. 2 guys jump the fence, approach the vehicle with the UWAP, get him out of the vehicle, and take him into the house. Then Charles pulls up, and they get him out of the vehicle and walks him into the house. Then a 3rd suspect backs into the driveway. They couldn't make out the license plate number, but Johnson recognized the vehicle as a 2013-2014 VW Turbo. It's a unique vehicle. As they're watching the video,
One spot. Pause right. Here comes another. Here you go. Pause it right now.
Is there any way we can stop it, crop it, and get something to put on the news?
a 4th suspect, heavyset guy, walks up. So they stop the video, take it over to the surviving victim house, and he says the heavyset guy hit Charles with the UWAP. Then they head to auto theft to see if anyone can narrow down that vehicle in a database. While waiting on that, the surviving victim called and said the suspect ran into a dollar store close to where the incident happened. So they head over there to see if they can get that video. They get the video, head back to the station to review the footage. You see a guy enter looking like the heavyset guy from the home video. And looking at a different angle, they see the short guy with dreads with a Captain America shirt that the surviving victim said was the driver, wearing the same shoes as in the home video. They're looking very nervous. So they put that video out to the media. Then the search results from the VW come back. They narrow it down to 3 vehicles out of 27,000, and only one of the 3 had the wing on it. So they head to the house of the registered owner. He says several people borrowed their vehicle, and he gave detectives their names. So they wrap that up, head back to the station. The news aired the story, and then Johnson gets a lead. The guy in the Captain American shirt is named Wade Reed. So they punch him into the computer, and his photo matches the driver. So Johnson looks up Wade Reed Associates and see a guy he was arrested with named Tavis Lenore. His name was given to detectives as a driver of the VW. So they get the surviving victim to come back down there to see if he can pick out Wade Reed. He picks him out as the guy who hit him with the ooh-wop.
Which one was it? That's him? That's not bad. That's Wade Reed.
So they head out to find Reed, snatch him up, and take him to the interrogation room. Johnson read him his rights. Wade Reed refused to talk. So he ends that interview and arrests Wade Reed. Now Johnson looks up Tavis Lenore. He's holding a lot of cash the day the incident happened, and they see a photo of Tavis with Wade Reed. So they locate Tavis. He agrees to come in for questions. Johnson asks him, is Wade Reed his boy? He said he knows him, but he has nothing to do with that. He just came to clear his name. So with nothing solid on him, Johnson ends that interview. Get a lead about the guy who hit Charles with the ooh-wop. His name is Jonathan Holmes. They print a photo of him. Have the surviving victim come back to the station again and look at that photo. He picks him out as the guy who hit Charles with the ooh-wop. So they snatch him up, read him his rights. He exercised his right to remain silent. So they wrap that up, arrest Jonathan Holmes. After being in jail for an hour, he sent word to detective that he wants to talk.
We went to the house. I told her they were going to score some weed. And this went crazy and tied them up and put them in the car and everything. And that's when everybody started shooting.
So they end that interview with Jonathan Holmes. He eventually pled guilty to manslaughter and received a 40-year sentence without parole. Tavis Leonard was picked up later and convicted of second-degree M and received a life sentence. Wade Reed pled guilty to manslaughter and received a 20-year sentence without parole. Thank you for watching. Leave me some comments. Hit that like button. Hit that thanks button. Stay safe out there. I'm done talking.